Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for race number 11 of the season for Division 2 NNSCRA Skittles Super Speedway Series. Getting ready to cap off what's been a pretty good weekend here at the debuting track of Toddring Super Speedway. And we have increased the streak to 22. 22 different drivers have sat on the pole position for the 22 races for both divisions here this season. The latest of those, Zachary Fitzwater will start on the inside of the front row for today's 30-lap event. Fitzwater comes into this race 27th in the point standings. At one point in this season, he was down around 38th, 39th in the points. He's been able to move his way up into the top 30 in the standings after a good run last week at Talladega and good starting track position here today. So could we be seeing the team of Fitzwater possibly start to get themselves into form to get to victory lane and have themselves in a spot, one of those 8 playoff spots in this season's chase for the championship? We're going to have to wait and find out. Alongside of him, a driver that's already been to victory lane but seems to be going the opposite direction. That is Sedale Salera. Now, Sedale Salera had a win back at Madrid, was up inside the top 30 in points. Last couple of weeks, though, have not been kind to the driver of the Doritos Nacho Chevrolet, and as a consequence, he comes into this race currently situated in the 35th position in points. As a matter of fact, if I look real quickly here, I believe he is a total of 19 points behind the 30th in the standings cutoff line. So right now, his win at Madrid doesn't count for anything. He needs to get back in the top 30 in the standings for that win to even count towards a playoff spot. Maybe with good starting track position here today, starting the outside of the front row, he might be able to do just that. Drivers that were denied becoming the first repeat pole sitter line up there in row 2, Cody Llamas and John Andrews, both were former pole sitters, but Fitzwater was able to best them. Let's go down trackside and get to command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So 30 laps of racing. If you haven't tuned into any of the races that have taken place here this week, well, let me fill you in on what this track is all about. It's a 3-mile triangle, really. It's only got 3 corners. It's kind of almost like if you took Talladega and Pocono and put them together. But the one thing that we're definitely going to have to focus on during the course of this race is the speeds. These drivers are going to go in excess of 260 miles per hour, and that's just single car speed. They're able to hit sometimes 265, 270, somewhere in that range when they're all together in a pack. Now, it is not overcast, so I'm not really expecting they're going to break the 275 mile an hour barrier. But I think we are going to see a couple of cars be able to hit 270 miles per hour at certain points of this race. The other vocal point that we're going to have to keep an eye on here as well that we saw in yesterday's Division 1 race is there was only one caution in that event, and what was it for? It was for drivers wrecking trying to come to pit road. In a few moments, you'll keep an eye here on this yellow pace car leading the field. You'll see him dive to pit road into what is turn 3. There is a very limited width of that access road leading to pit lane. And when you think about the fact that pit road speed is 55 miles per hour here, we've already mentioned these drivers are going to be going about 260 miles per hour. It's going to be very difficult for them to get down from 260 onto that access road, then be able to get to 55 miles per hour heading onto pit lane, especially if we end up having green flag pit stops and you have numerous drivers coming to pit road at the same time. This is the exit of turn 2. Now, if you watch here, coming down to the end of this straightaway, you'll see the pace car peel off. There you see him heading for the access road, and if you watch the access road, look at the access road, you'll see that there is a strip of grass separating the access road from the racetrack. Not only that, but there's a little bit of a banking to the access road as well. The right side of the access road a little bit higher than the left side. So any driver that ends up messing up that corner coming onto the access road trying to hit pit road, they're going to slide right back up the track here into turn 3, and that could be where we may see a wreck take place. That was the case in yesterday's Division 1 event. Well, let's quickly give you who the drivers are that are in the 8 playoff positions right now. 10 different races with 10 different winners so far this season. Right now it's Fury Gamington, Jeff Scott, John Andrews, Eric Sadler, Charles Sandfer, Nathan Ormond, Vince Almariego, and Caleb Farrell, who are your 8 playoff drivers. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. It's time to go green flag racing here at Toddring. Let's roll. So those are the 8 drivers that are currently in the 8 playoff positions. The 2 drivers on the outside looking in, William Brock our winner from Armory. He's 30th in the point standings. Right now he is the 9th highest of former winners this season. And of course we've already documented Sedale Salera outside the top 30 in the points. Already getting up to full speed here as Zachary Fitzwater, 253 miles per hour going into turn 3. And he's got a challenge for the lead. Keith Batson's going to take the spot. Looks like he's going to be the one that's going to lead the first lap of the day here at Toddring. Batson, who's trying to bounce back from a poor performance last week at Talladega. Batson dropped 8 spots in the standings, now to 14th. That's after he had some really good runs back at Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Kyle Langeland, on the other hand, he's been moving up through the point standings. He is 5th in the points coming into this race, gained 4 spots last week after Talladega. Charles Sandfer right behind him. Of course, Charles Sandfer, a win this season back at Pepsi Superspeedway, and he finds himself 12th in the point standings as he's now going to go 3 wide and take the top position. Not really that much of a battle right now for the points lead because Fury Gamington continues to increase his gap back to 2nd place, but we can give you what the overall top 10 at least looks like coming into this race. Is we may here in these final 5 races get a battle for the overall season championship, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Fury Gamington, a 61-point lead now over Nathan Stapleton. William Flickinger has now moved up to 3rd in points. 4th is Karson Gum. We already mentioned Langeland in 5th. Jeff Scott currently is 6th. Jack Hallec in 7th. John Anders in 8th. 9th is Dillon Young. He was the 2nd highest gainer in points last week, only to the winner Eric Sadler, and Alex Benyacko currently completes the top 10. Eric Sadler, after his win last week at Talladega, moved up to 11th in the point standings, and right now would sit in the number 4 seed in terms of this division's playoff grid. Sandfer and Langeland, 1-2, 3 wide further back. Here comes Dillon Young. Right behind him, the new paint scheme of James Shelly, the bright green Blame Shelly Insurance. Trying to hope that maybe a new paint scheme will bring about better finishes, as so far this season he's only had 1 top 10. He is dead last, 40th in the points. Benny Watson there on the outside of Dillon Young, kind of almost in the same boat as Keith Batson. Had some good runs last couple of weeks, but then last week at Talladega was not a good run for him, and found himself 15th in the points after spending about 3-4 weeks up inside the top 10 in the standings. As these drivers continue to race side by side, it's going to allow the top 2 for the moment to be able to get away, Sandfer and Langeland. We saw this in yesterday's Division 1 race as well. When drivers start to get broken up into little groups, then they start to run each other down, as Benny Watson used the high side to get around Dillon Young. Whoa, we got a car in the grass! That's Vince Almariego! Oh, where in the world is he? Is he going to come back up the track is the question. Oh, he's spinning. Now he comes up the track. Is that enough for a caution? It is. Yellow flag is out. Vince Almariego around. He might have had some help from Michael Norman. And that'll be our first caution of the day. It'll take place here on lap 6. And that'll bunch everybody back up. And this is very interesting when you consider the fact that the caution comes out now, because I don't think anybody that would come to pit road at this point would be good to go on fuel. Fuel window is somewhere around 14 to 16 laps. And this caution is coming out with about 24 laps remaining in the event. So Vince Almariego, former winner this season, comes into this race 20th in the point standings. The reason for this, our first caution of the day. Almariego, who had the win back at Pensacola. Looks like he's going to be at least damaged and off the pace. I didn't see a hit hard enough to take him out of the race, although that car has a lot of damage just about on every side. And I believe that's the other car that was involved, Michael Norman in the 3, who comes into this race 13th in points. I can't see any visible damage, but I think he was the one that might have hooked Almariego around. And look at this, everybody for the most part is going to come to pit road. I don't understand this, why you would come to pit road when you are going to probably have to pit again before this race is over. Some drivers, though, deciding not to give up track position and come to pit lane. So looks like Jeff Scott, our winner from M&M, is going to line up with the race lead. Daniel Voyles will be lining up in second. Saw Chris Maley, Jesse Turner, and a few others deciding to stay out as well, so we'll have an entirely different looking top 5 when we come back. Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution for the first time here today at Toddring. 4 wide coming out of turn 3. And it looks like Michael Norman just got tight. He was the car on the bottom, and the car never turned. Nose went straight up into the left rear quarter panel of Vince Almariego. Oh, that's a hard hit into the inside wall, and black smoke immediately erupts, and that is a telltale sign that the day of our Pensacola winner is over. Got to remember, too, even though it doesn't look like that hard of a hit, it took place at over 200 miles per hour. So that adds to how violent the hit is to the parts underneath the hood of that machine, as car basically still was at 150 miles per hour by the time it hit the banking of turn 1, up the track, and then rear end first into the outside wall. Not a whole lot of momentum scrubbed off from the grass where there's very little grip and very little to slow it down. The fortunate thing was that Almariego, when he came back up the track, all the rest of the field had already gone by. Otherwise, we could have had a really big multi-car wreck. But a tough break there for Vince Almariego, 20th in the points coming into this race. Came into this race, I believe, 7th in the 8 playoff positions. And not the run he was looking for early on here today at Toddring Superspeedway. Green flag will come back out here on lap 11 of 30. That'll give us 20 laps to go. And I don't think anybody in this field, regardless of if they came to pit road under this caution or not, is going to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel, because there will be 20 laps to go and basically a cap of 15 laps on 1 tank of fuel. Jeff Scott is going to line up the leader. He decided to stay out, as did a number of other drivers. Second place could be Daniel Voyles. Simon Salera will be third. Fourth, Jesse Turner. Fifth is Chris Maley. Sixth place is going to be Tristen Allen. Seventh is Benny Watson. Eighth is going to be Keith Batson. Ninth, Sedale Salera, and Alex Benyacko completes the top 20. I'm not 100% who was the first driver out of this group to leave pit lane. I'm assuming maybe Kyle Langeland back here in the 62. We're going to give you as far a rundown as we can. As 11th is Patrick Smith. Dillon Young lines up 12th. 13th is Kyle Langeland. 14th will be James Shelly. 15th his teammate Karson Gum. Charles Sandfer now back to 16th. He was the leader when the caution came out. 17th is Alexander Rowe. 18th place Simon Bloomfield. 19th is Nathan Stapleton. Completing the top 20 is Cody Llamas. 21st is Jake Galloway. 22nd, Nathan Ormond. 23rd place will be Alex Gray. 24th, Rob Evans. Top 25 completed by William Brock. Josh Drake is in 26th. 27th is ONeal Balvin. 28th is Levi McIntire, Caleb Farrell in 29th. 30th is last week's winner, Eric Sadler. 31st will be Jordan Lopes. 32nd, William Flickinger. 33rd, Jack Hallec. 34th is our pole sitter, Zachary Fitzwater. 35th, Trey Wright. 36th, Michael Norman. John Andrews lines up 37th. 38th is Adam Garcia. And our points leader will line up 39th. That is Fury Gamington. One driver out of the race will finish in 40th, and that is Vince Almariego, who was basically the only car that was involved in our first caution of the day. So green flag will come out here on lap number 11. 20 laps to go. So if this thing goes green to the end, there's these drivers up here that decide to stay out. I think that they can maybe make it as far as lap 16, lap 17. They've probably been able to save a little bit of fuel here under the pacing laps, but I don't think they can go any further than lap 18, 19, 20, something like that. As far as the other drivers that came to pit road, provided they got their cars full of fuel, we're going to see them have to hit pit road somewhere within the final 5 to 6 laps of this race as well. So, like I said, I didn't really agree with drivers like Charles Sandfer and, Kyle Langeland that were first and second and obviously had such good cars coming to pit road, giving up the track position here, knowing they're going to have to come to pit road at least one more time anyway. We'll see how it plays out, though, as Jeff Scott rolling the dice here for the track position, knowing that he's going to have to pit at least once, but at least he'll have to pit only once. Everybody else that came to pit road already is going to have to pit yet another time. And so he's got that win at M&M Superspeedway, so feeling he's got the opportunity to kind of play with a little bit of strategy here, trying to become the first repeat winner here in this division. So far, we've got two-time winners over in Division 1. So far this season, Division 2, 10 races, 10 different drivers have gone to victory lane. There's no doubt about it that any of the previous 10 winners from this season, if they go to victory lane here today, that would probably be a confirmed driver for the chase for the championship for this division. So far, we really don't have one, with the possible exception of Fury Gamington, who's got a win and is so far ahead in the point standings. I don't think he's going to drop outside the top 30 in the point standings in the final 5 races of the season. But in terms of a multi-win driver locking themselves in, we don't have that yet in the second division. Is now Daniel Voyles going to go for the top spot. Tristen Allen right behind him there in 37. Talked about how Dillon Young was the second biggest gainer, and Eric Sadler, last week's winner, was obviously the biggest gainer in the point stands last week, while Tristen Allen was the biggest loser of positions in points. Dropped 11 spots in the standings from 8th down to 19th. So certainly trying to bounce back after a very poor performance at Talladega Superspeedway. Comes Keith Batson with a big run, and like I said, I don't know who was the first driver to come off of pit road of the cars that pitted. I'm guessing maybe Keith Batson, but I don't know for certain who it really was. And so I don't know in terms of when the drivers like Turner and Voyles had all decided to stay out. Jeff Scott, don't know when they're going to have to pit, and I don't think he was pitting. Chris Maley got forced down to the apron there by Patrick Smith. That was close back there. They settle it back out to 3 wide formation. That wreck that we saw with Vince Almariego too is the first time that I've seen a wreck take place in anywhere besides the entrance of turn 3 on the access road. That was basically, if you think about it, the first legitimate caution that we had here this weekend. That was a bit of a surprise for me, as Keith Batson showing the way. Langeland, we know he's got a strong car. As a matter of fact, I think he was the one that took the race lead away from Keith Batson earlier on in this race. Now he's trying to run him down again. One car that is conspicuously missing was the race leader just before the caution came out, and that was Charles Sandfer. Gave up a lot of track position to come to pit road. He's stuck on that outside line right now. So Sandfer going nowhere fast at the moment. He's kind of boxed in. Keith Batson, of course, the former Hershey's Cup Series champion. I would love to be able to get a win here. I think that if he got a win, that would definitely put him in the forefront of a spot in the playoffs. Put him right in the same area as Eric Sadler, Charles Sandfer, as far as position in points. So he would be somewhere around the 4th, 5th, or 6th seed heading into next week's race. But he's got bigger things to worry about, because Kyle Langeland back to the inside, trying to take the top position. And take a look who's up here towards the front. Nathan Stapleton in the 72. Now, why is that important? Because, like I said earlier on, we really haven't had a battle this season, at least not in the last few weeks, for the overall points lead. Nathan Stapleton finished close to ONeal Balvin last week, but he finished, to Fury Gamington rather, but he finished 1 position behind him, so Gamington gained another point, made it 61 points coming into this race. But Stapleton, if he gets a really good run here today, and Gamington struggles, this could be the start to trying to cut into that points lead and maybe make it a battle in the regular season finale. We'll have to wait and see. Speaking of Fury Gamington, is there 3 wide for second. Cody Llamas charging his way up here to the front. Let's take a look. I saw some stragglers near the rear of the field. I'm not exactly sure why. There's Benny Watson. I think he just made a green flag pit stop, actually. Jake Galloway is back here. There's the 10 of Fury Gamington. He's got damage. Got damage on the front, damage on the left side. Not sure where that came from, so he's actually one of the cars off the pace. So that's a big opportunity for someone like Nathan Stapleton to capitalize here today. Trey Wright's back here as well. John Andrews, our Coca-Cola winner, back here. I don't know if we had some incidents on pit road or not. You got a little group here of drivers that have lost the lead group. Josh Drake, Jack Hallec. Whoa! Jesse Turner's slow. He might be out of fuel. I think he was out of fuel, and he's trying to get to pit road. He was one of the drivers that stayed out. You got Rob Evans and Eric Sadler, last week's winner in this group as well. There's Tristen Allen. He's hitting pit lane. Daniel Voyles on pit road as well. And I think the 4's out of fuel. Simon Salera. I think he missed pit road, and he is indeed out of fuel. He was, again, another of the drivers that decided to stay out, and he went too far. Now, the question is, he's past pit road. He's got a few corners before he's got to get around to the entrance of pit road. I don't think he's going to be able to make it. So, down there on the apron, if he keeps it down there, they may not have to throw a caution if he has to teleport. But if that car comes to a stop, will they have to throw the yellow flag? Right now, he is not under power. He's coasting the thing. About 60 miles per hour. I don't see how he's going to be able to make it back to turn 3. And I think the caution is out. I think the yellow flag is waving. It is. Caution is waving for the second time here today. This is, I believe, a race back to the line between Keith Batson and Cody Llamas for the top position. Keith Batson's going to hang on to it, it would appear. Well, I guess this isn't a battle. They are slowing, so I guess they had already taken the caution. Now, I don't know for certain if this caution is coming out because of the 4, or if this caution came out for an incident that we may not have seen. Cody Llamas hitting pit road. I don't know why everybody else isn't. Why is Keith Batson staying out? Well, this is going to be a very interesting restart. Llamas, very wise, coming to pit road. Oh, we got some bad skid marks up there in turn 3. I think we had a car wreck trying to get to pit road. Well, Keith Batson's going to be the leader when we go back green, but I question all these drivers that are deciding to stay out because I don't think they can save enough fuel here under pacing in order to make it the rest of the way. They'd have to save somewhere about 5 laps in order to make it to the checkered flag. This is going to be a very interesting restart here for the conclusion of this race. Let's go back and see what brought out the yellow flag for the second time here today. Well, here it is. This was the pole sitter, Zachary Fitzwater. The 59 coming to pit road. And he's all by himself. There's nobody to his outside, nobody to his inside. So you'd think he'd have a pretty easy time of it getting onto pit lane. A number of other drivers were on pit road too. Eric Sadler there in the 14. But there you see, he had 2 tires kind of off the surface, over into the grass. And he's going to slide up the racetrack. And boy, the hard luck for James Shelly continues. Just wrong place, wrong time. The whole left front of that car ripped off. Fitzwater, who looked like he was getting his season turned around with getting the pole position here today, his day is over. And that is what was the caution coming out. Oh, and I think the 71's actually going to flip over. It is. Wow. James Shelly was running at the time in the 23rd position, just trying to get himself out of the cellar of the point standings, but that will not be the case here today as he will be DNFing with about 10 laps to go. Same for Zachary Fitzwater. That car still under power, but black smoke just billowing from underneath the Auto Trader Chevrolet. And a very violent wreck going to bring out the second caution of the day and sets us up with some very interesting varying strategies that could lead to a very exciting finish in the final laps of today's event. Getting ready to go back green flag racing. We have 3 drivers out of the race. Zachary Fitzwater, James Shelly, and Vince Almariego, all 3 out due to crash damage. We saw that Simon Salera had run out of fuel. He had to teleport back to pit road. He's currently scored 2 laps down. And Benny Watson, who we saw on the pit lane, had an extended stay on pit road. Apparently they had to do a little bit of damage repair. He lost a lap in the process. So 35 cars still on the lead lap of 37 rather, that are still running. Now, as I said, we had a number of drivers stay out. Keith Batson's going to be the leader. Nathan Ormond there in second, our winner from Dragonette, so he's kind of rolling the dice. Simon Bloomfield will be third, Nathan Stapleton fourth, fifth is Levi McIntire, sixth William Brock, seventh Caleb Farrell, eighth place is Rob Evans. There's the lap car of Benny Watson. He'll line up single file with the rest of these drivers. His 10th place will be Alex Benyacko, 11th, or actually no. Karson Gum, I think, came to pit road, so the running order is a little bit strange here. We got Caleb Farrell, Rob Evans, and then Benyacko, Simon Salera, Jordan Lopes. Those drivers, I believe, stayed out and have not yet been to pit road. This is the driver right here that I think is in the best position. Currently, Eric Sadler, he lines up 14th, but he was on pit road during that last green flag run, so I think he's good to go the rest of the way. So keep an eye on last week's winner. He may have just set himself up in a great position to maybe go for 2 in a row. But the question is, what about these drivers? Are they going to be able to make it the rest of the way? Are they going to have to pit before this event is over? Or are they going to run out of fuel before they even get the opportunity to do both? Keith Batson rolling the ultimate dice here, trying to see if he can go to victory lane. He, along with about 12 other drivers, trying to do the exact same thing. Green flag will come back out. 6 laps to go here at Toddring. Batson got himself a good start, a good jump. Bear in mind, though, Keith Batson spent a good portion of the last green flag run out in front, so he used up a lot more fuel than these drivers as well, so that could be a bit of an issue for him. Simon Bloomfield trying to hold on to second. Nathan Stapleton with help from Levi McIntire. He will not get to the left rear quarter panel. Bloomfield just barely cleared him into turn 2. Down the back straightaway, and here we go. I was wondering if these drivers were going to dive for pit road. I think they were hoping for a quick caution. They didn't get it. So on to pit road come Batson, Bloomfield, Stapleton, McIntire, Ormond, Farrell, Brock, and Rob Evans. They will not win this race here today. We jump up to the front. Who's got the race lead now? It's the 20 of Alex Benyacko. Benyacko, who almost had a victory a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to remember who it was he lost out to. Oh, it was Vince Almariego back at Pensacola. Finished runner-up to him. Had a strong car, got passed on the last lap. Now trying to get redemption here today at Toddring. And I think he's good to go on fuel. I'm not 100% certain, but I think he's one of the drivers that's good to go on fuel. ONeal Balvin now lines up behind him in second. John Andrews side by side with Jeff Scott for third. You got Jordan Lopes up there in the top 5. Tristen Allen's in the mix. Adam Garcia's in the mix. Trying to make their way around the cars that just came to pit road. William Brock there in the 0-1. Got Bloomfield they got to pass. They got Keith Batson up ahead they got to pass. Ooh, trying to make a move there and pass Simon Bloomfield at the same time was John Andrews. Caution's out, I think. I just saw the caution lights on. And if that's the case, this race may end under yellow as Alex Benyacko uses the 39 as a pick. Caution is indeed out. That might be it. This race may be ending under caution. The yellow flag out for the 3rd time here today at Toddring. It comes out with the drivers hitting the line at 3 laps to go. I'm pretty certain that this race could be ending under the caution flag, and if that is the case, provided he's able to make it to the checkers, Alex Benyacko is going to become the 11th different winner this season in Division 2. And you saw the smoke. That was in turn 2. The entrance of turn 2. So Benyacko not coming to pit road. I think he's good to go on fuel. I'm pretty certain that he came to pit road under the last caution, which would have had him set up and all good to go for the finish. They'll hit 2 to go when they hit the stripe next time by. We're going to take the opportunity to go back, see what brought out this caution, and more than likely might have given this win under yellow to the driver that came into this race 10th in the point standings. Wow, this was coming off the access road, out of pit road. Nathan Stapleton and Nathan Ormond both had to pit. And there you see right there, I don't know if they had some contact on pit road, some disagreement. Little door bang there. They continue to door bang each other here down this straightaway. This is the straightaway between turns 1 and 2. Both down on the apron, and it's going to culminate down here into turn number 2. This is maybe one of the most unnecessary cautions I've seen all season. Watch right here. Ormond's going to get hooked by Stapleton right up in front of Charles Sandfer. Oh, that is a hard hit for the 0-3. And then the track gets blocked up. Nowhere to go. And I think it's Sandfer is the one that's going to get clobbered right there by Levi McIntire. Another driver, much like Shelly, who just has been trying to get a good finish and, again, involved in somebody else's mess. His car is going to go upside down. And that's some violent hits for a number of drivers. And if anything, Stapleton just basically screwed himself because we mentioned he was trying to cut into Fury Gamington's points lead. Well, with wrecking Nathan Ormond, that certainly was not the case. You got Levi McIntire, who comes in this race 39th in points, looking for a good run. That's not going to happen here today. Charles Sandfer and Nathan Ormond, former winners. Sandfer at Pepsi and Ormond at Dragonette. They were looking to try and keep themselves up there in the point standings. That's not going to happen. So, a lot of drivers with a lot to lose involved in this wreck here, and I really highly question that because I understand Nathan Stapleton's battling for position, whether it be on the track or coming off of pit road, but regardless, I think you want to have your car finish in one piece, and he could have very easily given up the spot to Nathan Ormond, who I think had actually beaten him off of pit road. We'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty certain he beat him off pit road, and so Stapleton should have given up the spot, had them exit pit road single file, and that wouldn't have happened. But anyway, that's going to give the win, I believe, to Alex Benyacko. Let's go back for the checkered flag. Lights are still on atop the pace car, and they received the white flag last time by, which means it will indeed be Alex Benyacko going to victory lane. Sweet, sweet redemption for the driver who just barely missed out on his first win about 5 weeks ago at Pensacola. He will now get the victory here today at Toddring Super Speedway. Benyacko came into this race 10th in the point standings. Provided where John Andrews finished this race, he's going to be somewhere around the 3rd or 4th seed of the playoffs heading into next week's race at Bermuda Super Speedway. So we haven't yet taken the checker flag, so it is not yet official, but it looks like Andrews will be finishing the day out in 3rd. So with that being the case, I think Benyacko is going to be 4th in the playoff grid, with Andrews probably being in 3rd. But how about ONeal Balvin there? He's going to finish the day out in 2nd. A great run for that driver, as most of his other teammates weren't really up near the front. Jeff Scott, we saw him playing strategy all day. He's going to come away with 4th. 5th place is going to be Jordan Lopes. And how about this top 10? We got Alexander Rowe. We didn't really talk about him all day. He's going to get 6th. 7th for Tristen Allen. Well-needed run after his hardships last week at Talladega. Daniel Voyles, we saw him play the strategy card back under the 2nd green flag run. He's going to get 8th. 9th will be Patrick Smith, and Adam Garcia is going to complete your top 10 here today. So Benyacko will lead them down here through back straightaway between turns 2 and 3. One more corner before he'll be taking his first checkered flag of the season, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's going to be only the 2nd Ford to go to victory lane this season in Division 2. The other driver, the guy who bested him back at Pensacola, Vince Almariego. So the Blue Oval has not been in victory lane that many times here this season in the 2nd Division, but Benyacko, like I said, this has got to basically be sweet redemption for him for Pensacola, where it looked like he was going to win that race, got passed on the last lap, could not challenge Almariego. Here today, he was the one that did the challenging and turned back all comers. Had the aid of that caution flag, yes, but he had himself in position to win the race when the yellow came out. And there is the checkered flag over the hood of the Discount Tire Ford. It's official. Alex Benyacko is your winner here today at Toddring Super Speedway. And in this division, we have had 11 races with 11 different drivers going to victory lane as the standings are now official. We gave you your top 10. Cody Llamas will bring it home 11th with Kyle Langeland 12th. Michael Norman, we saw him have that early contact with Vince Almariego for our first caution of the day. He'll battle back for 13th. 14th, Alex Gray, and Sedale Salera needs a good run to get into the top 30 in points. 15th, not too shabby. We'll have to see where this positions him next week as he will finish out the top 15. Dillon Young, William Flickinger, Eric Sadler, Jesse Turner, and Jack Hallec will complete your top 20. Fury Gamington will probably continue to increase his points lead. He only finished 4 positions behind William Flickinger. He finished a ways behind Kyle Langeland, 9 spots, but he was 92 points ahead of him coming into this race, and he finished ahead of Karson Gum, and definitely finished ahead of Nathan Stapleton, who was involved in our last caution. So he's going to, I think, increase his points lead even more heading into Bermuda with a 21st place finish. Karson Gum there, 22nd. Chris Maley, Trey Wright, Josh Drake, and Jake Galloway were the last drivers to finish on the lead lap, back to 26th. The rest of these drivers finished off the lead lap, tried to roll the strategy with fuel, and it did not work out for them. Keith Batson, who spent a good portion of the race out in front, Simon Bloomfield, William Brock. This will probably drop him outside the top 30 in the points. Benny Watson, Caleb Farrell, Rob Evans, Nathan Ormond, and Simon Salera all finished off the lead lap. Out of the race, after our 3 cautions here today, are the cars of Charles Sandfer, Nathan Stapleton, Levi McIntire, Zachary Fitzwater, James Shelly, and Vince Almariego. So it's getting more and more congested for spots in the playoffs here in Division 2. We'll have to see. Will we have our first repeat winner next week? Or will we end up having it continue on with different winners each week in this division? And of course, we're also got a really good battle that's going on over in Division 1 as well, with 2 multi-time winners and not a whole lot of space for drivers to be able to make their way into those playoff grids as well. There'll be 4 races remaining for both divisions, and we continue it next week at the Bermuda Super Speedway. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results. These are your point standings headed next week at Bermuda, where we will kick it off on Friday with qualifying for the pole for both divisions. And then on Saturday, Division 1 drivers will have their 12th race of the season at Bermuda, and then the Bermuda Triangle plays host to the 12th race of the season for the Division 2 drivers before we cap off that weekend, and we will have only 3 races remaining for the regular season. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. The chase tours. The chase continues here in the Skittles Super Speedway Series.